Just 2 weeks ago, in the midst of a terrible tragedy on the Potomac, we saw again the spirit of American heroism at its finest.
This line from President Ronald Reagan's first State of the Union address in 1982 started a new tradition. From that point on, during the annual speech, presidents looked up to their left from the podium to make a gesture to special individuals and reference their extraordinary actions in front of Congress and the American people.
And we saw the heroism of one of our young government employees, Lenny Skutnik, who, when he saw a woman lose her grip on the helicopter line, dived into the water and dragged her to safety.
On January 13, 1982, an Air Florida flight crashed into the ice-covered waters of the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. 28-year-old Lenny Skutnik was driving home from his job as a Congressional Budget Office employee. He stopped at the crash scene where he noticed that one of the survivors in the freezing waters was struggling to hold on to a helicopter lifeline.
As soon as the arm comes out, I realize she's not going to make it. Something just hit me. It was another human being in very serious trouble. So I take my boots off and my coat, and I dive in after her.
Skutnik's heroic act was captured on television. President Ronald Reagan was so moved he invited Skutnik to sit with First Lady Nancy Reagan during his State of the Union speech. By doing so, Reagan set off a decades-long tradition of presidents acknowledging ordinary American citizens as well as prominent figures for their years of public service.
A woman named Rosa Parks sat down on a bus in Alabama and wouldn't get up. She's sitting down with the First Lady tonight, and she may get up or not as she chooses. We thank her.
Clinton himself received a shout-out from President George Bush in 1990 when he was governor of Arkansas. That's right, Bush welcomed the man who would deny him his second term. 3 years later, it was Clinton delivering the speech in which he acknowledged Jim Brady, a former White House press secretary who was wounded when President Reagan was shot.
Thank you, Jim Brady, for being here, and God bless you, sir.
In the following years, invited guests have included teachers, war heroes, athletes, celebrities, and even foreigners. President George W. Bush invited politicians from Afghanistan and Iraq. Certain choices of guests clearly reflect an administration policy.
Steven Rodriguez couldn't speak a word of English when he moved to New York City at age 9. And this son of a factory worker just found out he's going to college this fall.
President Trump is expected to introduce some special guests in his address who he says have already benefited from his economic policies. But whereas the agenda changes from president to president, ever since Reagan's first State of the Union, all these guests have been called Skutniks. Tal Heinrich, I-24 News.